My name's Jamie, and I always knew my mom played favorites. It was never something we discussed openly in our family, just an uncomfortable reality we all pretended not to notice. My sister Olivia could do no wrong in Mom's eyes, while I was constantly falling short of expectations. Growing up, Olivia got the bigger bedroom, the newer clothes, and the lion's share of attention. When she wanted dance lessons, Mom found the money. When I wanted to join the soccer team, suddenly the budget was tight. It was a pattern that continued through our teenage years and into adulthood. But even knowing all that, I never expected what happened after Olivia's wedding. It started with the invitation. An elegant cream-colored envelope arrived in my mailbox 6 months before the big day. Inside was a card with flowing calligraphy announcing Olivia's wedding to her fiancé Derek at the Grand Plaza Hotel, one of the most expensive venues in our city. A handwritten note from Olivia was tucked inside. "Hope you can make it. It's going to be amazing." I immediately called Mom to confirm I'd be there. "Of course you'll come," she said, her voice tight with that familiar tone that suggested I shouldn't have even considered otherwise. "It's your sister's special day." I knew Olivia and Derek had been dating for only a year and the wedding seemed rushed, but who was I to judge? I had been with my partner Alex for 5 years with no plans to get married. Another way I was disappointing Mom, no doubt. "Do you need any help with the planning?" I offered, trying to be supportive despite our complicated relationship. No, Mom replied, "I've got everything handled. Just make sure you RSVP properly and show up on time." Over the next few months, I heard snippets about the wedding preparations. The guest list had grown to 200 people. Olivia had selected a designer dress that cost more than my car. The menu featured imported seafood and premium open bar. It all seemed excessive, but Mom was footing the bill, and Olivia had always dreamed of a fairytale wedding. I wasn't part of the bridal party, which wasn't surprising, but still stung a little. When I asked Mom about it, she said, "Olivia wants her closest friends by her side. You understand, don't you?" I did understand. I understood perfectly that in our family dynamic, I was an afterthought. The wedding day arrived. I put on my nicest outfit, a blue dress I'd splurged on specifically for the occasion, and made my way to the Grand Plaza. The venue was stunning, transformed into a winter wonderland with thousands of twinkling lights, crystal decorations, and white flowers everywhere. It looked like something out of a magazine. I found my seat at a table in the back, far from the wedding party. I was seated with distant relatives and a few of Mom's colleagues I barely knew, not a single person from my side of the family or any of my friends, just strangers who occasionally glanced at me with vague recognition. "Oh, you're Olivia's sister?" The ceremony was beautiful, I have to admit. Olivia looked radiant in her gown, and Derek seemed genuinely in love. I cried a little, mostly happy tears for my sister, though part of me couldn't help wondering if I'd ever have a day like this of my own, and if Mom would care as much if I did. After the ceremony, during the cocktail hour, I finally got a moment with Mom. She was glowing with pride, accepting compliments from guests about the beautiful event she had orchestrated. "Everything looks amazing, Mom," I said, giving her a quick hug. "Thank you, Jamie," she replied, her eyes already scanning the room for more important people to talk to. "Olivia deserves the best." "You've really gone all out," I continued. "This must have cost a fortune." She nodded, leaning in conspiratorially. "Don't tell anyone, but I'm giving Olivia and Derek a check for $10,000 as a wedding gift to help them start their new life together." I nearly choked on my champagne. $10,000? That was more than Mom had contributed to my college education, more than she'd given me when I moved into my first apartment and could barely afford furniture, more than she'd offered when my car broke down last year and I had to take out a loan to fix it. "Wow," I managed to say. "That's incredibly generous." "Will you only get married once?" she replied with a dismissive wave. "At least, that's the plan." Before I could respond, she was whisked away by the wedding planner. I stood there, processing what I'd just heard. $10,000, a sum that would change my life right now, casually gifted to my sister who already had everything. The reception continued. I watched as Olivia and Derek had their first dance, cut the elaborate 5-tier cake, and accepted envelope after envelope of gifts. I had given them a set of high-quality cooking pots that had stretched my budget at $250. It seemed pathetic now, knowing what Mom had given them. I left early, around 10:30, after having a slice of cake and saying a brief goodbye to Olivia. She was too busy with her hundreds of guests to do more than give me a quick hug before turning back to her college friends. Mom was nowhere to be found when I tried to say goodbye. The next morning, I woke up to an email notification on my phone. The subject line read, "Wedding Attendance Invoice." I opened it, assuming it was some kind of joke or spam. It wasn't. "Dear Jamie," the email began, "as you know, Olivia's wedding was a significant expense. To help cover the costs of your attendance, please find attached an invoice for $500, which represents your portion of the catering, venue, and entertainment expenses. Payment is due within 14 days, Venmo or check accepted. Thank you for your understanding. Love, Mom." Attached was an actual itemized invoice. Wedding plate, $125. Open bar access, $75. Fanny space, $150. Entertainment/DJ, $75. Cake slice, $25. Wedding favor, $50. I'll do $500. I stared at my phone in disbelief. This had to be a joke, right? My mother couldn't possibly be billing me for attending my own sister's wedding, but there it was, complete with a due date and payment instructions. I immediately called Mom, my hands shaking with anger and confusion. "Hello, Jamie," she answered casually. "Did you enjoy the wedding?" "Mom, I just got your email," I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. "Are you seriously billing me for attending Olivia's wedding?" "Oh, that," she replied, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. "Yes, well, the wedding was quite expensive, and since you're an adult with a good job, I thought it was only fair you contribute your share." "My share?" I repeated, incredulous. "Mom, you invited me, and you just gave Olivia and Derek $10,000 as a gift." "That's different," she said firmly. "That's a wedding gift to help them start their marriage. The wedding itself was my gift to Olivia, but guests should help cover their costs." "Did you send invoices to all 200 guests?" I asked, already knowing the answer. A pause. "No, of course not. That would be inappropriate, but you're family, and family helps each other out." "I am family," I said slowly. "I'm your daughter, Olivia's sister. Why am I being treated like I need to pay admission to be part of this family?" "Don't be so dramatic, Jamie," Mom sighed. "It's just $500. You can afford it. I know how much you make." She didn't, actually. I'd always been private about my finances, especially after seeing how differently she treated Olivia and me when it came to money, but it wasn't about whether I could afford it. It was about the principle, the blatant favoritism, and the absurdity of being charged to attend my sister's wedding when she'd just handed my sister enough money to put a down payment on a car. "This isn't right, Mom," I said quietly, "and I'm not paying it." "Jamie," her voice took on that warning tone I knew so well from childhood, "don't make this difficult. I've already told Olivia you're contributing. The bill for the wedding was enormous, and every bit helps." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "So, Olivia knows about this invoice too?" Another pause. "She knows I asked you to contribute. She agrees it's fair." That hurt more than I expected. My own sister thought it was acceptable for me to be charged to attend her wedding while Mom handed her $10,000? "I need to go," I said, unable to continue the conversation without saying something I might regret. "I'll think about it and get back to you." I hung up before she could respond and sat down hard on my couch, my mind racing. This was beyond the usual favoritism. This was a new level of disrespect and dismissal of my place in the family. I spent the day alternating between rage, hurt, and disbelief. I called my best friend, who was as shocked as I was. "That's insane," she kept saying, "completely insane." By evening, I had received 3 more texts from Mom, each more insistent than the last. "Jamie, please don't ignore me. The payment is due soon. I've already allocated your contribution to help cover the final bills." "This is really disappointing behavior, Jamie. I expect better from you." That last one broke something in me. After a lifetime of trying to meet her expectations and always falling short, being told once again that I was disappointing was the final straw. I drafted an email that night. but didn't send it. I needed to be sure, to be calm and clear-headed about my response. This wasn't just about a ridiculous invoice. This was about years of unequal treatment, of being made to feel less valuable, less worthy of love and support than my sister. The next morning, after a mostly sleepless night, I received another email from Mom. The subject line read, "Reminder, wedding invoice due." The body of the email was short. "Jamie, I haven't received your payment yet. Please remit the $500 by the end of the week. Thank you. Mom." That was it. No love, Mom, no recognition of how bizarre this request was, just a cold demand for payment. I finalized my response and hit send before I could second-guess myself. "Dear Mom, I've given your invoice careful consideration and I've decided to decline payment. Here's why. 1. I was invited to the wedding as a guest and family member, not as a paying customer. I was not informed beforehand that my attendance would come with a fee. 2. You freely chose to spend lavishly on Olivia's wedding. That was your decision, not mine. 3. You gave Olivia and Derek $10,000 as a wedding gift, yet you're asking me to pay $500 to offset wedding costs? The inconsistency and unfairness here is glaring. 4. Family doesn't invoice family for celebration attendance. It's unprecedented and frankly hurtful. Instead of paying this invoice, I've decided to make a different financial decision. I've donated $500 to the College Fund for Foster Youth, an organization that helps people who don't have parents supporting their education and futures. Additionally, I need some time and space to reconsider our relationship. The fact that you thought this was appropriate and that Olivia agreed reveals much about where I stand in this family. I love you both, but I deserve better than this. Jamie?" I attached a receipt from my donation to the email and hit send. Then I blocked Mom's number on my phone. I needed space to process everything without her immediate reaction making me second-guess myself. 2 days later, I received a text from Olivia. "What the hell, Jamie? Mom is really upset about your email. Why are you being so difficult?" I had expected this. Olivia had always taken Mom's side, benefiting too much from her favoritism to ever question it. "Did you read my email?" I replied. "Did she show you the invoice she sent me?" "Yes, and I don't see the big deal. The wedding was expensive and Mom asked you to contribute a small portion. You're being selfish." I took a deep breath before responding. "Olivia, she gave you $10,000 as a gift. She's never supported me that way, ever. And then she had the audacity to bill me for attending your wedding. Can you honestly not see how messed up that is?" "The gift is different," Olivia texted back, echoing Mom's words. "That's to help us start our marriage. The wedding costs were separate." "Would you have paid to attend my wedding?" I asked. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, and appeared again before her response finally came through. "That's hypothetical. You're not even engaged." "But if I was? If Mom spent thousands on my wedding and then billed you to attend, would that seem fair to you?" No response for several minutes, then, "I think you're overreacting. Just pay the invoice and apologize to Mom. She's really hurt by your donation stunt." My donation stunt. That's what she was calling my attempt to do something positive with this ridiculous situation. "I'm not paying to be part of this family, Olivia. I've already been paying for years, just not with money. I pay by accepting that I'll always come second, that my needs and feelings will always be less important than yours. I'm done with that arrangement." She didn't reply after that, and I didn't push for a response. There was nothing more to say. A week passed, then 2. I heard nothing from Mom or Olivia. It was the longest I'd gone without contact with my family, and while part of me was sad, another part felt unexpectedly free. Free from the constant, subtle reminders that I wasn't quite good enough, that Olivia was the daughter who mattered more. Then, 3 weeks after the wedding, a letter arrived in my mailbox. It was from Mom, handwritten on her personal stationery. "Dear Jamie, I've spent a lot of time thinking about your email and your decision. At first, I was angry and hurt. I felt you were being ungrateful and difficult, as you sometimes can be. But after talking with a friend who was quite shocked when I explained the situation, I've come to realize that my request was inappropriate. More than that, it was emblematic of a pattern in our relationship that I've been blind to. I've always prided myself on being a good mother, but I now see that I've failed you in many ways. I've favored Olivia, made excuses for treating you differently, and taken your love and patience for granted. The invoice was wrong. I'm embarrassed that I thought it was acceptable to ask you to pay for attending your sister's wedding, especially after giving Olivia such a generous gift. There is no excuse for it. I've enclosed a check for $10,000, equal to what I gave Olivia and Derek. It's not to buy your forgiveness, but to begin addressing the financial imbalance in how I've treated my daughters. Use it however you wish. I understand if you need more time and space. I respect that and will wait until you're ready to talk. But please know that I am truly sorry and I am committed to doing better. With love and regret, Ma. Enclosed was a check for $10,000, made out to me. I sat on my couch, reading the letter again and again, tears streaming down my face. They weren't entirely tears of joy or relief, though those emotions were there. They were complicated tears, acknowledging years of hurt while cautiously embracing the possibility of change. I didn't immediately deposit the check. Money wasn't the real issue here, though it was a tangible symbol of the inequality in our family. The real issue was respect, recognition, and being valued equally as her daughter. After a few days of reflection, I called Mom. The conversation was awkward at first, both of us treading carefully around years of accumulated pain and misunderstandings. But it was a start. I got your letter, I said, and the check. I meant every word, she replied quietly. I've been unfair to you, Jamie, for a long time. And I'm sorry. Thank you, I said. That means a lot to me. We talked for over an hour, beginning to unpack decades of complicated family dynamics. It wasn't all resolved in one conversation, of course. These things take time, effort, and commitment to change. As for Olivia, she was less receptive to this new family reckoning. When she learned Mom had given me an equal cash gift, she called me, furious. So you guilt-tripped Mom into giving you wedding money too, even though you're not even getting married? That's low, Jamie. It's not wedding money, I explained calmly. It's Mom trying to treat her daughters equally for once. We've always been treated equally, she insisted. You just like to play the victim. I realized then that Olivia might never see the truth. Her perspective had been shaped by years of being the favorite, a position so comfortable she couldn't imagine it was unfair. I love you, Olivia, I said, but we have very different experiences of growing up in this family. I hope someday you can try to understand mine. It's been 6 months since the wedding invoice incident. Mom and I are working on rebuilding our relationship. It's not perfect, and old habits sometimes resurface, but there's a new awareness between us, a commitment to do better. I used part of the money to pay off my car loan, put some in savings, and donated the rest to the same college fund for foster youth. It felt right to use Mom's gesture of equality to help others who don't have family support. Olivia and I are still navigating our new reality. She's slowly beginning to acknowledge that perhaps our treatment wasn't as equal as she always believed. Small steps, but important ones. As for the invoice, Mom and I can almost laugh about it now. Almost. It became a turning point in our family, a moment so absurd and hurtful that it forced us to confront truths we'd been avoiding for decades. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd just quietly paid that $500, swallowed my hurt as I had so many times before. Where would we be now? Still locked in the same painful patterns, probably. It took an invoice for cake and champagne to finally make us face the real cost of inequality in our family. And while the healing isn't complete, for the first time I feel like my place at the table isn't just being tolerated, it's being acknowledged as rightfully mine. So, was I wrong to refuse the invoice and respond the way I did? Or did my family need that wake-up call to finally see what had been happening all along? The journey continues, but at least now we're finally having the conversation.